Yo, what's good? It's your boy Low, man, and we're back for another episode of The World According to Low. That's right, we're back for another episode. I'm so excited to have you here today. If you do not know who I am, my name is Aloysius Ballard. I am a award-winning creative director, cinematographer, videographer, marketing. I've done it all, and I say that humbly. But I do own the fact that I work hard at making sure that my skill sets and that the things I put out make an impact. And because of that, it has allowed me to be able to go and meet a lot of people, do a lot of cool things within my life where I meet amazing people and I have amazing experiences. And because of that, I wanted to start a podcast some time ago. Matter of fact, today's episode 79. We're going to big that up a little bit. But because of that, because of the world I live in within marketing and video production and just all the circles I'm within, I wanted a place where I could talk to people about the journeys and lessons that I've met, some amazing people tonight. Hopefully I'll be able to get one of the guests that I want to bring in, a friend of the show. But if not, it's just going to be us having a great conversation, okay? So I want to start out. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you had a great day today. I hope that your year is going the way that you want it to go and that you are seeing yourself meet these goals by any means necessary. Now, one of the goals that I had for this year was to become a doer and not just someone that's talking. And I set out to get into the best shape that I've seen since high school. Don't laugh at me. I really mean that. I really want to get into the best shape that I can be in for a number of reasons. And I started this thing called The Journey. And before we get into the podcast today, I just want to give you a little bit of what I've been doing with that. And then we're going to come back and we're going to get into this conversation. Can we do that? All right, let me give you a little snippet here.
One thing I can give you is a speech. What I can't give you is heart. I can't infuse that dog in you. But you're going to have to have it if you're going to win in this league. If you're going to be a champion in this league, you're going to have that dog. You're going to have to play hurt. You're going to have to play when you don't feel, when stuff is going on, and that's what you missing. Y'all coming close, but to get to the next level, you can't be a lion, which means you look like you the king of the jungle. You fight like you the king of the jungle.
Yeah, there it is, The Journey. That's where you see me. You can find that on YouTube. My YouTube is aloysiusballard.com. And listen, I have a formula, right? I like to entertain, I like to educate, and I like to empower. If you do those three things within your content, within the things that you create and you put out, you'll notice that you'll have people enthusiastic about whatever it is you're passionate about. And one of the things I'm passionate about is becoming better, becoming a more well-rounded person and helping others do the same. And yeah, man. So one of the things I want to talk to you about, I'm going to start the intro for it in a second. But one of the things I've been doing recently is a lot of reflection and growth, right? I've been looking at like what I've been doing well in the past and then a lot of my weak areas. And one of my weak areas that I notice when it concerns me is my branding and promoting myself. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, before we get into that, I want to start by introing my podcast properly, episode 79. If you follow the pod, we're on our way to 100. But one of the things that I celebrate each week is that most podcasts, I think the number is 80% of podcasts do not make it past episode, like it's like a low number, like 25, 50, somewhere in there. They don't make it past that because they burn out and they don't remain consistent in putting out content and doing episodes. And it's tough Listen, I don't want you to think that podcasting is just something you get up and you just jump into. It is very challenging. There's a lot of things in the backside of this that you guys, if you're thinking about getting into podcasts, have to realize is that you have to be comfortable with yourself. You have to be able to know what it is you want to convey with your audience and through conversation. And that's difficult. Think about if you had to always have a conversation that made people learn something or kept them entertained. And that's what separates a lot of us who continue on, like episode 79 that I'm celebrating today, and those who do not. But I'm celebrating the fact that I am well on my way to 100, that I'm having a great year. I'm losing weight. I'm down 6 inches. So as we go into the third month of this year, I'm seeing the discipline and the dedication pay off. So you're going to get a lot of good energy from me based on those things, because a lot of people do not and will not do what it takes to get to those goals. So let's intro this pod and let's get into this conversation. I appreciate you for listening. Let's do it. Come on, it's the world according to Low. Let's go. Let's go. So act like you already know. It's gonna be a good show. It's the world according to Low. Hey, hey, hey. So let's sit and grow. It's gonna be a good show. That's it. 79, baby. We're here. Next week will be episode 80. And then we're only 20 episodes away from 100. Man, if you have been fooling with me in this podcast at all during this journey, man, I celebrate you. I thank you so much. I couldn't do it without the loyalty crew. Matter of fact, the loyalty crew, I did not have a clean loyalty crew shirt today. So we're riding the blanks, but don't talk about me because, we're going to get some more merch coming in here. And matter of fact, this is the loyalty crew merch that we got going on that we're growing and thriving for. I partner with IGotItMade.us to bring this out. And we're going to talk about that because, like I was telling y'all, how you brand yourself or how you put yourself into position to be seen by others is a big deal. And it's been something that I've struggled with. Now, I'm going to tell you what's funny about it is that I can make creative measures happen for anybody you put me in a room with. And I mean anybody. I can have my iPhone. I can have my camera. It doesn't matter. As long as I have something and some way to create, I can make marketing, all kind of creative things happen. And I mean, like in a way that is engaging for people. I've done multiple videos, my wife and I, for Tabitha Brown, where they weren't the big, like I didn't have major rigs. Most of it was either an iPhone or something like that. And they go viral. She loves them. She shares them. They go viral. People commenting, oh man, all kind of things. Not once, not twice. We've done it multiple times. And it goes to show that if you have a good idea, if you know how to use the platforms that we have, that you can do it. Now, it's hard when it comes to yourself because I don't know. I don't know. It's been a disconnect. I'm working on it this year, but I want to talk about it tonight. Now, the definition of branding, and I'm reading this, don't be impressed. I want to make sure I convey this the right way, is the promotion of a particular product or company by means of advertising and distinctive design. Now, some of you may say, Lo, what does branding have to do with like your identity or how you market yourself? Well, let's say this. If you saw a coffee cup with a green circle on it, what do you think of first? Do you think of Dunkin' Donuts? Do you think of McDonald's? No, you think of Starbucks. Same thing with the Golden Arches, right? those things that you see, identify. That is branding for those companies. Like even Target, when you see that circle, that red circle, those things are identifiable. Those are their brands, right? And then there's things that we do to just catch the attention of people. That is marketing. Now, marketing, it puts you to a certain demographic, like to your target audience. And let me give you an example of that. You wouldn't sell bottled water to the ocean. Why? Because the ocean already has enough water. You wouldn't sell a shovel to someone who lives in the city, because what are they going to do with that? Like, they have no need for that. So, like, marketing will have you identify and grab the attention of your desired clients or the desired people that you're looking for. And I do that on a daily basis. I work in marketing. I am a digital coordinator. So a lot of times I am tasked to create content, digital content, for the audience that my job or my clients need. And that is something that makes it difficult for me, because how can I market? It's hard to market yourself when you are the client. Now, one thing that a lot of us who are creatives will say is, well, Lo, how can I do a better job? Because we're all in that same boat. Number one, let's talk about it. We rarely have budget to market ourselves. And I'm going to talk about some of the things that I'm doing now that you should probably try out and put into play to see how it works for you when it comes to marketing yourself as a creative or a brand, right? So I factor in all of the things with my business. When somebody prices me out, say, Lo, I want you to come do video. I want you to come do this, that, or the other. One thing that I will price out is my time, the tools it takes for me to accomplish that at a high resolution or a high quality, right? And then I pay myself and my team, depending on how big the job is. One thing I've been lacking on doing is adding a percentage of that to promote myself for more work. Now, I know I ain't by myself. Some of y'all are listening that are saying, hey, I got a book. I got a product out. Some of y'all say, hey, my church wants more people. And whatever the case is, your grandma may have the best chocolate chip cookies in the Gulf Coast or wherever your region is or whatnot. And you say, Lo, we just want to be able to get this product in front of other people. Well, that's a twofold task, because one reason I started the loyalty crew was for me to have something that could be branded with my personal brand, right? So Aloysius Ballard, I wear multiple hats. I'm the owner of Beyond Expectations Productions, which has its own brand, which has its own audience, right? And then I have myself as a podcast host, as a creative director, as a consultant, as something that is a separate entity, as an influencer outside of my company. And I was trying to do all of them together, and I found that it wasn't very impactful. And one of the things that I want to talk about tonight is the power of branding, of people being able to identify you by something distinctive, right? As well as collaborating or working with others. Now, for me to get this loyalty crew merchandise and these branding things that I had out, one of the things I had to do was partner with someone who could manufacture the things that I needed. And because of that, I went to someone I knew, one of my best friends, a guy named George Chuck Patterson. And George Chuck Patterson has a company called I Got It Made. Now, I Got It Made specializes in being able to customize merch and branding for people like myself and other clients, like companies, whatever your thing is, they can customize it just for you. Now, when I came to Chuck, I already had an idea about what I wanted, because something that's important to me is remaining loyal to your dreams, to your ambitions, to the desires that you see for yourself. Because I started out in an area where there weren't any Black videographers that I could go work with. There weren't any Black companies or people who would just give me opportunities. I tried to get hired in marketing for years. I was always creative. I always had talent and gifts. But until you have an opportunity to learn and grow, is often very hard for us to get a leg up. And growing up in the South, in South Mississippi, I couldn't find those areas here. So I had to do a lot of grunt work. I had to make a name for myself in an industry where oftentimes I had to go outside of my market, which means I had to learn how to network with people. I had to learn how to talk to people. I had to treat people in a way that they remembered me even after I went back home to Mississippi. And a lot of times we look at these things and we disregard them as if those things don't matter. I meet so many of you who have great ideas, who have great, y'all write these journals, you write these books, you have these events, and then it's like you just leave it to chance. And you think that people are just going to remember that you do this thing. Well, I'm telling you, repetition is our friend. There should never be a time where you feel like you're oversharing your brand. As long as I've been alive for 40 something years on this earth, I've always seen McDonald's commercials. I've always seen McDonald's in newspaper, magazines. I've always seen McDonald's sponsoring events. They do all kinds of things. And that goes for any successful brand. So Lo, talk to me. Why don't we do it for ourselves? Why is it that we work harder for other people than we do our own brands? Sometimes we just don't see it, or we lack the motivation to create and to be distinctive in our approach to our audience. I often think about a lot of times how, and I'm going to share this and hopefully my wife doesn't get mad. One of the things that I notice is that I see in my wife so many creative measures. My wife, she learned how to be a gardener. She grows. During the pandemic, she started growing plants and doing plants, and she picked it up just like this. Next thing you know, she was coming to tell me like, "Babe, look at these plants. This is called a monstera. But this is different. It looks like a Swiss cheese plant, but a Swiss cheese plant is different than this. And then look at an alocasia. They grow like this. They only need, look at a snake plant, all these different things, right?" And I was just amazed because I'm a creator who likes to manufacture things for people, content. That's why I'm good at what I do. I am passionate about that. But my wife also writes, and she writes in a way that when I tell you, she'll take everyday things and create passages or bodies of work, small written pieces that will inspire people. Now, when I look at that, I'm like, there's so many things you can do with that. You have an audience. You have people who want to hear and receive more of the product that you're putting out. And because of that, right, I become more motivated to create sometimes than she does, because I can see what she cannot. See, a lot of times it's like when you're cooking in the kitchen, right? When you're cooking, you're sampling so much of what you're creating that by the time the meal is prepared, you have no desire or appetite to eat. But a lot of times we got to start being in our process where we don't give so much to ourselves that we lack an appetite for what it is that we really should be giving that energy to. And this is what I want all of us collectively as creatives, as people who give something to the world that they can ingest and they can take and become better or fulfill with, because collaboration, right? The times that I may say, babe, let's do this together. Or I may say, Chuck, let's come together and create the Loyalty Crew merch. Or like sometimes I'll have my young guys with me who are awesome, talented shooters like Nayland or Jaden with Jaden McGee Media. Like these guys I like, or AJ Williams Media. I get with these guys and we collaborate on a project, and it fills our cup with more motivation to go out and create other things. But even in all of that, there's still two components that we have to make sure we make time for. Are people identifying your work with you? Are you making sure that you put your stamp on this as something that people will walk away knowing that, hey, these fries, regardless of what you put it in, are McDonald's fries? Or this coffee is Starbucks coffee? Or these Jordans, regardless of what box you put them in, they know these are Jordans. All of those things are symbols and things that I'm working on to make sure that we, as creatives, are making time for ourselves to thrive and grow. One thing Chuck said to me early this year, and I've kind of adapted it to my goals this year, is to go and grow, right? So imagine during the pandemic that the companies we rely on, Amazon, Walmart, gasoline pumps in different places. Imagine if they did not adapt to make sure that their audience got what they needed. Where would we be today? What if your audience is drying up and not at their best because you have failed to adapt to the times that we're in? Regardless of what we talk about and how we dismiss it, you should be on TikTok. You should be sharing on all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, maybe not all in the same capacity, but you should be sharing something where your brand is identified in every platform possible. I'm working on it now. We should have newsletters. We should have email signups. We should have our websites, things, blogs that allow our audience to always be able to adapt how they need be for our content. Like I said, I use the example of my wife. My wife is an amazing writer. She's an amazing cook. She's amazing with plants and things that she does. She's amazing at events. But what good is that if it stays within us? What good is that, including myself? There are people, another thing that I've worked on that I want us to talk about, because tonight is kind of morphed into a conversation of us going and growing. We're 2 months into this year. And I love seeing the progress that I'm seeing in my weight loss and my health. And there's something to be said about when we go and grow, when we see progress happening in our lives, right? But we have to meditate on the things that allow us to get there. If you're just doing the same thing you're doing every week without any thought about how do I improve or getting feedback, ask people about the things that you create. Hey, take a second and check this out. Like one thing about the journey that I was looking at, I was making these videos too long. I was excited because as a filmmaker, I wanted to tell the whole story. But then I got some feedback that said, Lo, it was great, but it was a little long. Like I felt like it took too long to get to the action of the video. And even with my experience in life, I still need feedback. I still need some type of gauge of me getting outside of myself to allow someone to give me some type of input on the things that I'm creating. Every dish you create is not going to be the same. Like you can make 15 apple pies. They all will not taste the same. You hope to have consistency. But in the end, right, they all will have very different variations because the feeling of all of them may not be the same. We're 2 months in. Are you working on your branding? Are you working on empowering others who can do what you cannot do for yourselves? Now, I want to go back to what I mentioned. I allocate in my budget for everything except promoting myself. And I'm doing a better job with that now because my goal is to have someone that I know will be a good fit for my brand to come in and market me, to promote me the way I cannot see myself. Your experience with me in the world according to Lo may not be what I think it is. You may say, Lo, I appreciate you for motivating me, for always being encouraging, for always just showing us whatever it is that you feel I may show you through my work, through my art, through my creations, right? I'll never see myself from your eyesight. So I need someone that's outside of me. I need someone that's outside of me to help with all of the things my family is doing, right? There's nothing that we create and we spend time with that we should not be promoting, that we should not be showing the world the very beauty of what it is. I really want to encourage you as I close this podcast today to be encouraged to really go out and make a difference in your brand. I started this. I went on these journeys to leave a legacy of the things that I've done in this world. The stories, the hardships, the triumphs, the victories, the networking and the building of collaborative projects with some of the people I named earlier. See, we get in our way so many times, man, because we doubt that we are enough to be the vessels and the people that can change others. And I say this humbly. God has to use somebody. He has to give somebody the means and the gifts to impact this world. We complain about all the bad stuff that is posted on social, but what are you doing to shine your light, to make yourself distinctive, to where people can seek you out for the very thing you're passionate about and the very skill sets that you do? One question I often ask most people I work with is, where can I find your work online? A lot of them say, well, I post, you can go over here, or somebody posted me, but you aren't posting yourself. And sometimes we just need to be encouraged. Sometimes we just need to trust other people to help us. One of the greatest things that I love to do and create is literally helping the people I love create what's inside of them. My father-in-law has an awesome ministry, our church, Victory International Christian Center, and I've helped him create for over 2 decades. And I love seeing people do that. I love seeing people get out. I've helped my brother-in-law create albums and videos and just grow. And those things are things that we leave as a legacy. my wife and all of the gifts she has. I want to be able to say that I helped as many people as possible grow in this world. And I thank you all for listening to this podcast, but I really want you to know that you are capable of doing everything that you want to do in this life. You got to be consistent. Consistent. I'm going to say it again. You have to be consistent. It's not easy. If it was easy, we all would do it. But if you can push through, if you can be consistent, there is nothing that you set out to do that you will not achieve. Until next time, man, listen, go follow me on all platforms. You can see some of them here. But if not, you can always support by going to my website, aloysiusballard.com, signing up for patreon.com. It's less than a coffee a month. $5 a month signs up, helps me grow, create, build, empower, and keep changing the world one conversation at a time. I thank you for listening. I pray that all of your needs are met and that you are really going after everything you want this year, man. It's your year, but you got to make it happen. I'm going to get out of here. Shout out to my sponsors, Blue Organic and their wonderful Pink Panties Lemonade. But I also love their sports cream. Yep, that sports cream. That's what keeps me from falling out on these workouts. But also, remember, you can check out the Loyalty Crew merch. Go to the link will be in the description below. And until next time, man, thank you guys for listening. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.